Good morning, everyone. Today we will be seeing fifth unit, that is JSP. Okay, so here we are going to learn about Java Server Pages and its architecture. Java Server Pages is again one more technology which will be used for developing dynamic data-driven web applications in Java. So it is an extension of Java servlet only, servlet technology, which provides a simplified, higher level way of building web applications comparative to Java servlets. Let's see what are the advantages of JSPs over Java servlets. Okay, so simplicity and ease of development. Like when a JSP allows the developers to embed this Java code directly into the HTML page, which makes it easier for writing and maintaining uh, comparative to servlets, which require more complex structure, right? And here they have a separation of concerns, like JSP supports a clear separation of concerns between presentation logic and business logic. HTML code and presentation elements can be directly integrated into the JSP pages, making it easier to manage and understand. And next is tag libraries. JSP supports custom tag libraries such as Java Server Pages standard tag library JSTL, which provides a set of tags for common tasks like iteration, conditional statements, and database access. This will be reducing the amount of Java code embedded in JSP pages, making them cleaner and more maintainable. Next is automatic compilation. JSP pages are automatically compiled into servlets by the servlet container during the first request, which eliminates the need for manual compilation and deployment steps. This simplifies the development process and reduces the chance of errors. Next is built-in expression language (EL), that is JSP provides an EL, that expression language that simplifies the retrieval and manipulation of Java stored in Java Beans components, which will be allowing for a more concise and readable code compared to scriptlets in Java servlets. There is a rapid development of JSPs for web applications by providing an environment where developers mainly focuses on presentation layer without being overly concerned with low level details of servlet programming. And the components can be reusable, like JSP supports creation of custom tags and tag libraries, which enables developers to encapsulate and reuse components across multiple pages, which lets us go for code reusability and reducing redundancy. And there is a better integration and designing tools. JSPs can be easily integrated with web design tools because they resemble standard HTML. Designers can work on the presentation layer independently without extensive knowledge on the knowledge of Java, and easy to learn for web designers as it is familiar to HTML. Web designers can quickly learn and work with JSP, which involves minimal programming and allows them to focus on the visual aspects of web pages. And scalability, JSP applications are scalable because they are built on top of the servlet architecture, which is designed to handle multiple requests concurrently. This makes JSP suitable for large scale applications. So here are the choices that why we are going for JSP. And when we are choosing Java servlets, it often depends on the specific requirements of the project and preference of the development team. Okay, this see, a combination of JSP and servlets are used to balance between simplicity and flexibility. Coming to the architecture of JSP, JSP architecture gives a high level view of working with the JSPs. It has a three-tier architecture: client, web server, and database. Here is a client, web server, and database. The client is a web browser or application on the user side. Web server uses web engine, JSP engine, sorry, that is a container that processes JSP. For example, Apache Tomcat has a built-in JSP engine. A JSP engine intercepts the request for JSP and provides the runtime environment for the understanding and processing of JSP files. It reads, parses, builds as a Java servlet, compiles and executes Java code, and returns the HTML page to the client. The web server has access to the database, and the see, here is the architecture, which see, JSP, which stands for Java Server Pages. It is a server side technology. It is used for creating web applications. It is used to create dynamic web content. In this, JSP tags are used to insert Java code into HTML pages. It is an advanced version of servlet technology. It is a web based technology that helps us to create dynamic and platform independent web pages. In this, see, Java code could be inserted in XML pages or HTML pages or both. Here, JSP is first converted into servlet by JSP container before processing the client request. JSP processor is illustrated here. If you see, there are the sequential steps prior to which the it is provided. See, client request will be sent to the JSP engine, and um, in the first step, the client navigates to the file ending with a .jsp extension. That means when we click on the JSP page that we require, we are putting a request to the browser. The browser initiates an HTTP request to the web server. For example, the user enters the login details and submits the button. The browser status requests a status.jsp page from the web server. Okay, and step two, if the compiled version of JSP exists in a web server, it returns that file. Otherwise, the request is forwarded to JSP engine. This is done by recognizing the URL ending with JSP extension, .jsp extension. And the JSP engine loads the JSP file and translates the JSP to servlet. Okay, this is done by converting all the template text into println statements and JSP elements to Java code. This process is called as translation. Okay, where JSP file has been translated to servlet. Okay, and all those converts all the template text into the println statements. This is, we call it as translation. The JSP engine then compiles the servlet to an executable class file. It is then forwarded to servlet engine, and this process is called compilation or request processing phase. And the generated class file is executed by the servlet engine, which is a part of the web server, and the output is an HTML file. The servlet engine passes the output as an HTTP response to the web server. The web server forwards the HTML file to the client's browser. In this way, JSP works. Life cycle of a JSP page is, it is defined to the process that starts with its creation, which later translated to a servlet, and afterwards servlet life cycle comes into the play. This is how the process goes on until its destruction. So we already know about the servlet life cycle. Okay, here when the request is being given, it starts with the creation of a JSP. Then it is translated to the servlet. Then servlet's life cycle comes into picture. Okay, so here if you see, here is the life cycle. Translation, following the steps are involved into the JSP life cycle. First is translation of JSP page to servlet, then compilation of this JSP page, compilation of JSP into test.java. Okay, and class loading, test.java to test.class file. Instantiation, that is object of the generated servlet is created. Initialization, JSP init method is invoked to the container. Request processing, that is JSP service method is invoked to the container. JSP cleanup, that is destroy method is invoked in the container. We can override JSP init, JSP destroy, but we can't override JSP service method. Okay, if you see. And translation of JSP page to servlet is, this is the first step, no, translation. In this translation phase, it deals with syntactic correctness of JSP, that is compilation of JSP page. Here the generated Java servlet file is compiled to a class file. Class loading, class loader loads the Java class file into the memory. The loaded Java class can then be used to serve incoming requests for the JSP page. Instantiation, an instance of the class is generated. The container manages one or more instances by providing responses to the request. Initialization, JSP init method is called only once during the life cycle, immediately after the generation of the servlet instance from JSP. Request processing will be done by JSP service method, which is used to serve the raised request by JSP. It takes request and response objects as parameters. This method cannot be overridden. And JSP cleanup, that is destroy. So freeing up of the memory in order to remove the JSP from the use by the container or to destroy the method for servlets, JSP destroy method is used. This method is called only once. If you need to perform any cleanup task like closing open files or releasing database connections, JSP destroy can be overridden. Right? This is about the in architecture of the JSP. Thank you all. Keep learning.